behalf of the Pittsburgh Foundation, the Forbes Funds Board, the extended philanthropic family of supporters, and of course our staff of the Forbes Funds, we pray that you and your families are safe and healthy. As we've known over the past weekend, we've had a spike in our corona cases, so it is not without due diligence that we must tighten up our practice with regards to physical distancing. Also, I'd like to remember our fallen comrades and citizens as we honor their work and their lives in light of the numerous marches and activist activity that's taking place around the country and world. Today, I want to speak a little bit about adoption. Innovators represent 2.5% of our population, and innovators are the first individuals to adopt a new technology or focus. Earlier adopters represent 13.5%, and they're the second fastest category of individuals who adopt innovation. Early majority represents 34%, and these are individuals in the category of adoption of innovation after varying degrees of time. Late majority is 34%, and these are individuals and organizations that adopt an innovation after average members of society have done so. And then there's laggards, which represent 16% of our population's adoption rate. And they're unlike the other previous groups. They have no real opinion about the adoption. Why this is critical is the Forbes Funds, for its 37-year history, has been an intermediary that stepped into this notion of innovation, from providing financial support to nonprofits to bridge the gap between state contract freezes and budget negotiations, to providing technology to the nonprofit sector to increase their effectiveness and efficiency. In 2018, the Forbes Funds aligned our internal programming to optimize our grant making by looking at GPMP, EIR, and MAGs to really create a framework of human transformation through systems change. During that same period, we partnered with the London School of Systems Change to really look at how we might optimize our collective efforts through systems application, and begin to look at a new alignment to look at strategic collaborations, and also to look at our grant making over the years and shrink our grant making down to a smaller amount of focus. So we focused on strategic collaborations, fiscal management, back office supports, shared staffing, and looking at higher levels of strategic collaboration, and looked at systems change. In a four-quarter period, we've increased our grant making by 400% as a result of this model. In 2019, the Forbes Funds launched a partnership with the city of Pittsburgh and supported the city of Pittsburgh and New York and other places to have the city become the second U.S. city to adopt the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. During that same period, we hosted the 10th annual Eco Districts Conference and have been working with the city of Pittsburgh on adoption of eco districts frameworks for comprehensive planning within the city of Pittsburgh, in particular focusing on vulnerable communities. We've also hosted this past year the biannual GPMP conference, which we had over 1,000 people represented at that conference. Also in 2019, we launched our first Catalytic community cohort effort, which is basically a higher level of concentration of our core programming in specific communities that represent the greatest risk to our sector. As you guys are well aware of the 90 communities in the city of Pittsburgh, 43 of those communities are highly at risk. We sought to look at a peer-to-peer model that was taken out of our PIOSA framework that looked at emerging organizations being mentored by high-performing organizations. This too also optimized our ability to create what we call mini ecosystems. We recognize that each community is unique, and how they see about solving problems will be reflective of their typography, reflective of the things they hold dear in their values and norms. And so for us, we seek to create supportive catalytic resources in a way that optimizes each of those communities' ability to be self-sufficient through a core framework of strategic partnerships that operate at multiple levels. We also in 2019 started a partnership with our partner in Sweden, the International Basin Institute, focused on warm data labs. That was significant because it put us in a framework of looking at how we look at systems change approaches through optimizing multiple systems interdisciplinary work. As a result of that activity, we pivoted in 2020 and started something called PNP, People Need People, which has been extraordinary in that it's supported our ability to work deeply during the COVID era and within communities to better ascertain their needs on a weekly basis. We also recently launched the ForbesFunds University. This project was launched in 2020, as a matter of fact, last week officially, with the Community College of Allegheny County in an effort to increase the professional, supervisory, and leadership capacity of the nonprofit sector. We believe that that is critical more than ever, which is why we talked originally in my presentation this morning around early adopters. We're fearful that our data illustrates that up to 75% of nonprofits in the sector have 3 months or less operating reserves, and those that have $4 million or less budgets are at risk of catastrophic failure, if not reorganized, structured, and strategically aligned. In many ways, we find ourselves at the precipice of an unknown reality. What's in the future? And so for us, we don't know that. We just know that we need to come up with a system that supports people's right to self-determination, strategic collaboration, in a way that they look at their work through a systems change approach versus individual organizations. So we've created a number of new programs that are COVID specific to support this transformation. We also have continued to expand our Catalytic community cohort efforts and partner with new individuals and organizations. Most recently, we finalized a partnership yesterday with Pittsburgh Community Services, Inc. to provide additional supportive services for housing and renters in the amount of about $300,000. This would also pave the way for us to create a more robust response to the impending challenges coming to the sector as a result of COVID and the impact on families. Why this is important is we believe that these conversations must become more robust about what are our opportunities, threats, and stressors to the sector, and how might we begin to explore what nonprofits we need to focus on. We in no way want to make that decision unilaterally. We believe that that decision should be made as a result of community expressed needs. And so for us, when we started this week, we have hosted 556 Zoom meetings and had 8,731 contacts. I think that's extraordinary, and I want to thank my staff and our team for performing at this high level to ascertain data from the community in an ongoing way. These meetings, these weekly briefings, and our online portals represent a fraction of our effort, but the tip of the spear of our focus. Without these courageous conversations and without listening to the community, we don't have a good framework for making any significant decision regarding supporting the sector. And so we thank you guys for being on this call. I want to thank my team and our partners, and I want to move forward with the next phase of our strategic collaboration, which you'll be hearing from shortly. Thank you.